Hi there. Well, welcome along back to another investigation into the mysteries of the world and the universe. Anyways, you might be wondering why I put a picture of the Virgin of Guadalupe, or depiction of the scene in which the peasant in Mexico sees the vision of the Virgin of Guadalupe. Because I'm not religious in any sense of the word. But something happened recently in this book by Norman Cantor, Medieval History, Life and Death of Civilization. And it's a book that goes over the issue of European civilization from the decline and fall of the Roman Empire up until the Renaissance, when the medieval world was brought to an inglorious end by its own destruction. But in the beginning, Mr. Cantor has an interesting section here on the religious quest of the Roman world. And if you're kind of cognizant, right, this might seem kind of strange, kind of eerie in a sense. The Orientalization of the Roman Empire, the bringing in of Eastern ideas and values, meant that the people in the empire took religion seriously to an ever-increasing degree during the 2nd, 3rd, and 4th centuries. Religion and theology became the staff of intellectual and emotional life for the emperor and aristocracy, even as much as for the lower classes. The Emperor Diocletian, master of half the world, would do nothing without first consulting the auguries in the form of livers of dead chickens. In the 3rd century, superstition and supernatural religion were widely accepted. Why did these beliefs enjoy such increased popularity? People in the 3rd century were suffering from the insecurity of the times. As they became less secure in this world, they began to turn to the other world. For most people in the late empire, life was hard and miserable. The despotism of the emperor and imperial government weighed heavily on the citizens. Huge urban proletariat lived precariously from day to day, depending on handouts from the government. In addition, large numbers of the population were slaves outright, living under the most terrible conditions. To these people, suffering from the injustices of the social order, this world could not be regarded as rational. Even those who enjoyed a high standard of living greatly feared the power of nature, and the simplest rules of economics were likewise beyond them. They lived desperate lives in an irrational world. Since evil and abuses could not be relieved, the bulk of society sought soteria, release, safety, salvation from the pains of this world. They entered their hopes on a Savior God, a dying and reborn God with whom they could associate themselves and also escape from the limitations of mortality. Fascination with the afterlife pushed aside other interests. Rather than the salvation of the state, the universal quest became, what must I do to be saved? By the 4th century, the inhabitants of the Roman world had lost faith in both state and civilization, seeking instead individual, personal salvation. A variety of solutions was offered. One approach would borrow from another, and even solutions which gained only a small number of firm adherents had great influence on all others. This blending and mixing together of religions is known as syncretism. The Romans had a state religion from the beginning of the empire under Augustus. Religion was based on the deified emperor who obtained superhuman and semi-divine attributes upon death. In the 3rd century, the religion or cult of the divine emperors was less modest. Superhuman qualities were accepted in the living emperor. Certain poets aroused enthusiasm for this movement. Already Horace and Virgil had spoken of Augustus in messianic terms in the 1st century. However, most people didn't involve themselves emotionally with this emperor cult. It was primarily a state religion designed to maintain the political unity of the Roman world. What interested people in the later empire was a personal religion for personal salvation. Okay, so that was kind of an interesting little section from the book there. I mean, the author's got some problems, especially in how the people he cites as his source for studying history. And he doesn't really get into much of the economics, because that was a component of, the collapse of the Roman Empire. And he praises Gibbon too much. So anyways, I decided to have this picture which is of a restaurant nearby, of the Virgin of Guadalupe, as something that was adopted as a symbol back in the 19-teens and 1920s of what became the fascist movement in Mexico. Kind of like a Catholic fascist. Or this I don't know. It's not really good to describe it as a right-wing movement, but this is one of the problems of what's kept Mexico in the state it is this Catholic fascist movement connected to the Buckley family. I don't know if you remember old William Buckley, that austere and proper gentleman who was on TV and wrote books and so forth like that, and had his magazine. Well, the Buckley family actually is interesting. It goes back quite a ways in terms of the oil industry in Mexico, and their conception of Mexico is basically a colony of, like I said, these financial powers in the United States, and mostly the United States, but also London, since they consider pretty much most of the world as a colony. But yes, and they're upset about leaders like Cardenas, who's kind of like a Franklin Roosevelt of Mexico. Came about at the same time, of the Buckley family, like I said, these right-wing Catholics, the whole revolution, and then the Civil War that was going on at that time. Now, why did I bring all that up? I mean, I see this every day in terms of the problem of getting people to think politically, to think of taking action, right? We could organize to implement policies that are going to deal with these bailouts and this criminality in the whole financial system, and just dealing with these libertarian, these market anarchists who have this messianic, and it is essentially a messianic view of the market as a god, that the market's supposed to do what it wants to do, just like Zeus. And if you dare to interfere with that, my God, you are going to bring the wrath of God down on us. Bizarre as it sounds, it's all the same thing. So anyways, that's about it. These are just things I'm working on. I don't know, problems that we're facing that I just kind of, I'm pondering and I'm thinking, and that's about it. I'm just kind of spouting the kind of stuff I'm running across, problems I'm having with these stupid idiots who keep slandering me on my other videos when I discuss economics, and other things too, like that. All right. Okay, so I hope that was interesting. So this is Drew. out here in Los Angeles, Tinseltown, and the cult of star worship. Okay, that's another form of religion, is these stupid Hollywood stars. God, what a bunch of worthless people. Okay, see you later. Have fun and keep thinking. Bye-bye.